What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. I'm Lorcana, and here we do all things card games. Today, we're doing a little bit of a different video. If you've seen some of my gameplay videos for Lorcana, y'all probably have seen me play on Pixelborn a bunch, and I obviously enjoy that a lot. I'm enjoying the game and everything. But we're doing a little bit of a different one where if you've seen some of my Magic or Magic Spellslingers content, I do kind of like to take a moment and just kind of talk about the game, do a little bit of analysis, and yeah. So no apologies for anyone who was hoping for like a gameplay video or something, a deck tech or anything like that. No gameplay today, just talking. So hope you will stick around for that. Yeah, we're gonna be talking about just the things that I've noticed, over the past couple of months, about the game that I enjoy, that I think are positives. But I will also accompany them with some notes, some concerns I have, if that's what you want to call them, just some critiques. This isn't just gonna be oh, everything's great and fine and dandy. But a little bit of a feels good video with a little bit of here are my notes. Speaking of, you might ask, well, okay, if you're giving notes, who the heck are you? For people who are new, at least. So yeah, I'm Roxora. I'm making content here on YouTube as well as streaming every once in a while on Twitch. I'm a longtime Magic the Gathering player. I played competitively for many years. It's kind of since moved away from like super high stakes tournaments, just kind of playing locally, also playing other formats like Commander if people are familiar. I have a little bit of that as a background, as well as I am a game designer. I do have a full-time job where I work as a game developer. Obviously, I enjoy games, love talking about them. So that's why I'm here. Love to just talk and discuss things. So I hope you guys are equally interested in doing the same. And yeah, that's also just why I'm here. My goal here is to just, with this channel and with these videos is just to help people enjoy the game, to get the most out of it. So whether that's, explaining how combos work or explaining how to build decks, giving people tips, or just doing gameplay and having people enjoy that and getting people excited for playing the game or building decks or whatever. That's what I'm here for. So if that's what you are interested in as well, or you just like the content, feel free to leave a like, comment, subscribe. It would really help me out a lot. All right, so in terms of this video and this list, why am I making this now? Why would you talk about the game in this way? Well, first of all, obviously the set 3 Into the Inklands is coming out in a little while. We've been seeing spoilers, so obviously the game is about to change, and so I think it's important to note and take note of where we're at and kind of see where we want things to go. And just the game has been out for a couple months. There's been some large tournaments sneaking up. I wasn't able to make it to the one here in Orlando, but there was like a big 1K event at a store that I've frequent. But I also am just going to like my local stores and playing an event at least once a week, or just engaging with the game in some kind of way pretty regularly. So now that that's happening and everyone has product, I think it's a really good time to talk about things. Actually, sorry, we have 5 things on this list. They are not ordered, so just to note, that. But also, a lot of these things are my observations and my opinions. Obviously, I can only see things from my own perspective. So if you've had a different experience or disagree with me, obviously you're welcome to let me know in the comments, or we can have a discussion. But just noting, like, if I say something and you're like, that's not been my experience at all, I'll note that specifically for one of the things that we're getting to. Just keep that in mind. All right, to the list. So first of all, one of the things I noticed very early on, because also one of the first ways in which I engaged with the game was opening packs, was the pack opening experience is really great, or just the pack experience, card collection experience is pretty good. And so what do I mean by that? Well, obviously, like me first getting into the game and seeing the common cards and the uncommon cards, but then also I really enjoy the double rare system, as well as the guaranteed foil in the pack. Magic the Gathering, and I'm not sure about other card games, but I know Magic the Gathering in particular has also adapted their pack opening system, their pack structure, you might say, to kind of be similar to how Lorcana is doing it. And I made note of that, and I think, yeah, one of the big awesome things is that you get 2 rares in a pack guaranteed. and you also get a foil. So there could be some insane packs, right, where you get 2 rares and a foil rare. So that's pretty cool. But the other thing that I wanted to note is I do really enjoy the 4th rarity, and by that I mean in Magic we have common, uh, fifth rare, 5th rarity, because we have common, right, uncommon, rare, and mythic in Magic, and then here we have common, uncommon, rare, super rare, and then legendary. So I think at the adding of the super rare, while it might seem pretty minor, really does a good job of making you feel good for opening a card. Whereas a lot of time in Magic, you'll open up a rare and it'll be terrible, or there'll even be times where you open up a mythic, but it's the wrong mythic and it's like a $1 card. So those are like super feel bad moments from Magic, and I think that's really lessened with the addition of a super rare, right? Where a lot of times the super rare might not be this insane pull, right? It might not be the super legendary, it might not be your Rapunzels, your Bells, your Beast, tragic heroes or whatever, but it will still be a good card like a Tinkerbell or something like that. I'm trying to think of other Lady Tremaine, I think, is a super rare, right? And some of these other cards that are awesome to open, right? You're super happy opening them. They're not going to be like they're not going to make you a millionaire, but they're not going to cash you out, but they are going to be a really nice open. So I really think that's great, and again, that also leads to kind of some balance space in terms of what cards we make power, like what cards do we put at certain rarities, right? You can have some more flexibility there. Like obviously we still have some powerful rares like Maui, that are just good and will always be playable, but then also it's nice when you can kind of put some good cards in the super rare slot as well, maybe juice them up a little bit. So that's super nice. I also really like the clarity of the first rare that you see will always be the lowest rarity. So there's been times where I open up a pack and the first rare that I see is a super rare, which means that the next one is guaranteed to be at least a super rare or better. And that's such a good experience, right? It's such an exciting, right, moment, right? When you're like, and you just kind of don't get that from, at least again, my experience opening Magic packs, where a lot of times you're just ripping right through to just find the one rare, see if it's good. If it's not, cool, move on. So it's such a opening Lorcana packs is such a more exciting experience. At least again for me, having the experience of opening Magic packs. So I hope people are having that experience as well and enjoy that. Obviously, I was going to note, some things in terms of availability and things like that. Obviously, there was issues in the beginning of the game with scalpers or just with supply in general. So obviously, was like a major negative. Hopefully, those issues are gone. It seems like stores have pretty ready packs now. Boxes are at a reasonable price. So I hope that stays where it's at. Again, that's kind of my note of just like, let's keep those issues in the past, and let's make sure that opening packs is easy, exciting, and a good way to get people excited to play the game. What I have next here. Oh, of course, a good play experience. So I am not aware of any organized, or I should say, organized website or any kind of database in terms of finding events, getting to events, being notified of events, but at least in terms for me, the local scene has been pretty nice. Just to go to like a local store, pay a reasonably priced, not an insane price. A lot of times it's something like $5 for a couple rounds of play. Sometimes there's prizes, sometimes there's not. A lot of times stores do like raffles or small kind of prizes. I played in a couple leagues as well, just over the course of the couple weeks. So all of these different things is really nice to have, again, to keep people playing and engaged in the game regularly, to create a sense of community. Already starting to like see the same kind of people over and over at the shops or the events that I go to. So that is really nice. But I was going to say that the note is, right, the lack of any kind of database. Magic the Gathering has a dedicated website where you can go and locate stores that are operating events near you, and it will tell you which events those are and all those kinds of things. and having like a system for, again, supported events. You'll note that a lot of my comments have to do with the kind of official actions or the official systems that come from Ravensburger doing things, and it just kind of seems like right now that's not happening. And so again, I'm not like saying that's a major downplay. I'm just saying I hope that that happens or is improved upon in the future, because I do think that is an important thing to have in a game. In a game like this, I would say, again, coming from Magic. All right, and so obviously we have to talk about the gameplay a little bit. Game is useless unless it is played. Obviously, these last two were about right acquiring the cards, being a collectible card games. Getting the cards, getting to an event, engaging with the game. But obviously, people aren't going to engage the game if the gameplay is not good. The gameplay has been great. It's very similar to Magic, obviously, which is not a fault, right? A lot of people have kind of been saying, "Oh, this is just another, like Magic ripoff." I disagree. I think the fact that it plays similar to Magic and kind of behaves similar, the fact that someone who plays Magic like me was able to pick up the game and kind of gain knowledge of the game so quickly is a good sign. Again, you want people with card game experience to see Lorcana, see the benefits of it, and kind of shift over, as well as obviously appealing to people who are Disney fans or just looking for a game, a tabletop game of some kind to engage with. Anyways, you want to appeal to all of these groups. And so, yeah, I think it being similar to Magic is a good thing, not something to criticize them over. But aside from that, the just the interestingness of having kind of this board board state centric gameplay, and by that I mean a lot of Lorcana games are won through attrition, right? Through trading off your cards or trading cards, right? And battling each other, interacting with your opponent's things in a profitable way. There's not a ton of games that are what we in Magic we would call a race, right? Where everyone is just questing up and trying to gain as lore as fast as possible and ignoring what your opponent is doing. I think a lot of the top decks or a lot of successful strategies are having some type of interaction. No, it's not always the same type of interaction, right? But it's always some form of interaction, which I think is really good, really healthy to have. It would be a terrible experience to have just, I play this, I'm going to ignore what you're doing, and I'm just going to quest and do my own thing, right? It's you're paying attention to what your opponent is doing, they're paying attention to what you're doing, and you're kind of going back and forth. The other thing that I was going to talk about and is why this weird diagram is here is the state of the meta in the game, or the dynamic of a meta existing. And so a lot of people coming who do not have the card game background might be a little confused with what I mean by that. With any game that has any kind of right pre-construction, whether it's a card game, whether it's like League of Legends, like a MOBA or some kind of thing, anytime where you're putting a collection of things together, there's always going to be what's the best thing, right, or the best couple of things to be doing. Right, so again, in Magic, there's kind of always been, and in Yu-Gi-Oh, in any card game, there's always been the concept of tier 1 decks, right, which are the best ones, tier 2 decks, which are, just underneath, and then tier 3 decks, right, which are underneath those, and then you have, like, Rogue, or you have Garbage, right, so there's always been this idea of, right, this is the best deck, this is a worse deck, but is still a good deck, right, and these ones are tier 3 decks would be like decks that are competing but aren't super popular. And within those metas, right, there's always this idea of, oh, you play this deck because it has a good matchup against this deck, right? A deck A beats deck B. And then, right, excuse me, I have a little bit of a sore throat here. A lot of talking going on. You have deck A beats deck B, but then you have deck B that beats deck C, and that's what I'm showcasing here, right? Is the sign of a healthy meta, right? So this example would be like Ruby Amethyst or something like that, right? So Ruby Amethyst is a really popular deck right now. Let's say it has a really good matchup into Amber Steel, right? So then Amber Steel might have a good match. So, but then you've got let's say Ruby Amber, right? My Mufasa deck, or some kind of thing like that, or Amber Emerald, right? The other, some of the Mufasa decks in the format, right? Beat right, maybe they beat Amber Amethyst, or sorry, Ruby Amber, because it's really good into be prepared, it's really good into removal, whatever you want to talk about. Maybe they quest faster, while this deck is just focusing on value. Whatever reason you want to supply, or for why this deck, excuse me, for why deck C beats deck A, doesn't matter, right? But then, right, maybe Steel Song, right, or sorry, Amber Steel Song has a better matchup into the Mufasa decks, because of their damage based removal, or their ability to gain more advantage, or fight trade off better. Whatever you want to decide. Right, the fact that in Lorcana right now there is a really prevalent sense that, oh, this color is really good against this color, but this good is even better against this color. Whatever we want to decide, that dynamic is really prevalent. Especially, I also should note, with the 6 color dynamic as opposed to the 5 color dynamic from Magic. Right, the 6 color dynamic also. And the fact that decks are restricted to 2 colors, right, and you're kind of constrained in that way. All of those things are leading to a really good system for gameplay. Right, no one deck besides, again, Ruby Amethyst is particularly strong, and again, it's okay. It's always going to be a thing that there's going to be one deck that people view as the best deck. But the big thing is that, again, there's going to be plenty of decks. I could show, from like Mushu Report, that there's plenty of decks. Actually, let's pull that up, because I was looking at that anyways. Yeah. So we've got, as you can see here, there's obviously a ton of Ruby Amethyst, but there's also the Sapphire Steel deck that has gained some popularity. We've got, was it Amber Emerald? The Amber Ruby, I assume, is somewhere on here. I hope so. I'm sure it's somewhere on here. Yeah, Amber, Ruby, Mufasa, right? So there's plenty of decks that are performing well, that are competing at a top level, that are not Ruby Amethyst. So again, I think this is the quintessential sign of healthy gameplay, of a good meta, and I hope that this continues going forward. I have no real notes in terms of like card balance. I know people have talked about bannings potential. I don't think we're there yet. I'm not even like going to touch that with a 10-foot pole. Not interested in discussing that. I was, however, interested in potentially discussing some kind of rotation system. As with Magic, we have the standard format as opposed to the non-rotating formats like Modern, Legacy, and Vintage. Standard is a format in which you have the 2 current, the 2 years of the most recent cards, right? So 2 years after after a set comes out, the cards from that set are no longer legal, and the new card, or whatever the newest set, whenever that comes in, would replace the older cards from that set. So again, it rotates in the sense that as new cards come out, older cards are no longer becoming eligible to play in the game. I obviously would prefer that not be a thing. I would love it if that's not a thing. It's a question of, is that something that they're going to make, in terms of needing people to continue to buy packs, or to continue to engage with the game, or to keep things fresh, or to just like be like, hey, we just need different ways of playing the game. So we'll see about that. I was going to say that's another thing that I was going to mention very briefly. I do like also that we have different ways of playing the game, at least for now. We have the 1v1 normal way of playing. We also have, or sorry, not normal, the typical way that you'd imagine playing the game. But I've also played a couple of multiplayer games. That's pretty interesting in terms of how the game changes, or how your actions change or are impacted. it's a little bit more of a casual way of playing and just kind of enjoying. I haven't really seen any events or any kind of solidified way in which people play multiplayer, but it's still nice. Again, kitchen table magic is a term, right, that's referred to like when your friends are just playing. So I think again, that's good to have. That's always nice. I will say I was gonna make another note. There's a really a lot of things that I could talk about in terms of gameplay, and I hope people can see my game design experience coming out here. The draft system that they implemented is pretty strange. Again, in normal Lorcana or constructed Lorcana, you're limited to 2 colors. I would have imagined that would have been the same thing for draft. That's one of the challenges, right, of drafting in Magic, is drafting such that you end up with a playable deck, typically a 2-color deck, right, so that you can play the game effectively. The fact that that doesn't exist in Lorcana means that you end up just taking the best card. Your decision making is oversimplified. You just look at the cards and say, okay, is this the best card for me to take in this position? Cool. It's good in my deck. It's a good card, or it fills out my curve or whatever, or I need removal or whatever, right? Whatever it is, there's no reason you can't take the card because you don't have to worry about, is this card the right color for my deck? I imagine that existed because the packs were not designed for limited for draft. I've obviously that could change, but I think the past couple of like the 1 or 2 drafts that I have done were not that enjoyable. We're not a very interesting experience. It was just kind of like, okay, I put some cards together and I make it. Furthermore, with that, the decision making that I had for deck building was very limited because I think I ended up with 45 cards, something like that. Because I think they're 13 right cards, something like that, and you get they're 15 cards. So you get 3. So I ended up cutting 5 cards from my deck, and that was it. So I had to make 5 decisions to build my deck. Whereas when I draft in Magic, I have like 20, sometimes 30 different decisions to make when I'm building a deck. So I think again, the draft experience wasn't super impressive to me, and it's not because I'm not a fan of drafting. I'm a big fan of drafting in Magic, if you've seen my videos. So again, I think that's one of the major flaws, at least, that I see in terms of the gameplay. All right, so we'll go in a little bit more with some gameplay or game design stuff here. Obviously, if you've seen the spoilers for Into the Inklands, we're getting a new card type in locations. I think that's really great. It's very exciting, and I hope we do more of this. I think, again, the awesome thing about card games like Magic and Lorcana is when they have expandable design. Again, when you can take something that already exists or take something that didn't exist before and produce more of it, or produce something new. I think that's really good. So again, it's unclear exactly how locations are going to affect the game, whether they're going to be a meta relevant card type. I hope they are. I hope that we continue to get more card types. And again, exactly what those are, I don't know. Again, I'm not in their design team or anything like that. But I do hope that we continue to get more designs. So yeah, my note about this here is that locations, at least at this point in time, feel very weak, feel very not relevant. There's a couple of cards. There was one card we saw today. I don't remember what it was, but it was okay. But again, part of this also comes from we've never played with them before, so obviously we don't know. But for right now, and again, I could eat my words, locations feel a little bit weak, and so I hope that if we are adding new designs, that we get I hope they are good. I hope locations are relevant, are played, because it would be a shame to put in the work to design them and then to have them just not be played in any decks. I hope that, again, in the future, if we do design new card types, that people are excited for them, or that it's more clear how to use them or why they might be good. Because right now I just don't see it. But who knows? I think that is my last one. Oh, sorry. And then we have one more here. Our last one here, which is arguably the biggest one, is that Lorcana is a pretty good. have it in a bad place, but says whole. It says complex. There we go. There we go. Um, uh, Lorcana is really easy for me to teach to people. It was easy for me to get into, but even more than like I have again a bunch of card game experience again a degree in a degree in game design and development. So you know me being able to understand the game, not a big deal, but me being able to teach the game to somebody else and to sit down and play, I did it in like 30 35 minutes to somebody. And that was I've taught a bunch of people, taught a bunch of friends. Like that is awesome. And part of that is because it is, as we say here, complex, not complicated. So what that means is there's a lot of individual pieces, right? There is a lot of explaining what a character is. There is explaining what an item is. There's explaining what an action is. But once you've explained those, the actual playing of the game, the actual what a character does, is pretty easy to understand. And also your goal is also easy to understand. And I will also say that even in just like playing in your first couple of games, you immediately start to understand the game dynamics. I think the game kind of teaches itself almost as you're playing it. I think that's really good. So yeah, I think that's a big plus. The kind of getting into portion is also really nice, where I was talking to somebody the other day and they were talking about how it's easier to get into Lorcana than Magic right now because of the number of cards. Again, that might change in the future, but I think it's easy for people right now to look at a game that is starting up and starting and not having a huge history. And I think it's more approachable. And I think that's again a big plus. I hope people feel that and see that. But for me, one of the things that was really nice for me was I opened my first booster box. Right, I spent dropped the money, opened my cards, and I'm like, okay, now what? Well, guess what? Now you can just build a deck. I think the fact that there are no lands, if you're familiar with Magic, in Magic you had separate lands in terms of your ink, what would be your inkwell, and so not having to do that, not having to go and get the lands that I need for a deck, and instead just build a deck with just the cards that I received from my booster box, from my packs, from my bundle, whatever I'm getting the cards from. The fact that I can build a full deck that's ready to play just from the cards that I open up is awesome. So that makes, again, the game very approachable, right? You just tell somebody, go out and buy some packs, buy a starter deck, something like that, and they can immediately start playing the game. You don't have to go tell them, oh, go buy these exact things from a card vendor like TCG Player, or a starter deck, which would be terrible. Not to diss on anybody playing starter decks, but right, obviously we understand starter decks are just that. So yeah, I think all of those things make the game easy for somebody to learn, to start playing, and start engaging with the game in a regular and in a repetitive way, right? Me giving somebody a deck to play isn't that engaging, right? Someone going out and getting a deck, getting cards, and saying, I'm going to put a deck together right now, is a really great way to engage with people. I see people posting all the time saying, hey, I put this deck together from cards that I opened. What do you think? That's a really, really good sign that people are interested in playing and are able to do so. Cool. I think that was my last slide there. Yeah, awesome. So that was my list of just things that I like, as well as, again, some notes. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Went on a little bit longer. I hope I didn't trail off too long. I can get into tangents sometimes, but if you guys enjoyed, again, let me know what you think of the list. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you have some different opinions or different experiences? Obviously, if y'all want to talk meta, we can talk about that. We can complain about Ruby Amethyst being insane. I will laugh at you and say just play Mufasa. But anyways, and if you're interested in talking with me more, Again, you can find me live at Twitch. I also have a Discord. I'm not like super like watchful of it, and it's not the most fanciest Discord. It's pretty bare bones, but you can go in there. You can chat with me and some of my friends, some people that I play games with. So you'll find them in there, and they'll have some good conversations for you. All right, that's gonna do it for me. I don't want to drag this video on anymore. Hope you guys enjoyed. Remember, like, comment, subscribe, and we'll get back to more gameplay in the next video. See you there.